What up? What up? What up? What up?
What's happening, man?
Man, welcome to
Good evening.
Religiously Incorrect.
Good evening, folks. We are here live at the Religiously Incorrect podcast.
With the London News. Prince Charles.
How y'all doing? Happy
going
Sunday
on?
night service.
Happy Martin Luther the King Day.
Martin Luther the King.
King. We are here to celebrate.
And commemorate the life and the legacy.
We are here to start a revolution.
Do you want a revolution?
Woo, woo.
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all, we're about 30 minutes late because we're black preachers and we can't help it. But really, it's because we have come from our local Trumbull County Martin Luther King service. But
Yes,
first,
sir.
we forgot to say this is Religiously Incorrect, brought to you by
Phillips Care Training. Mike Phillips and High Street Fitness.
High Street Fitness.
He is ready to get y'all right. I know y'all done made those resolutions. I know y'all ready. I'm on my 50 by 50. Although Todd bought me a pop instead of a water, but I'm gonna drink it.
I'm the saboteur, you know. I'm here to
drink it.
I'm here to tempt you out of your fitness goals.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, like, I'm gonna lose weight. I'll be like, you wanna go Dairy Queen, Doc? How you feel?
Steak, get some steak.
Right.
You ain't gonna pay for it, but you gonna.
We gonna get it though. We gonna get it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, it's been a good weekend, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a good week, man. What's happening in your world, Pastor Jeff? What's going on in the world?
Man, what's going on in the world, man? Well, I mean, let's just start off by, especially since it's MLK Day.
MLK Day.
Weekend, the unveiling of the statue.
The unveiling of the statue. I wish we had a picture of it. But yeah, we're both casket sharp tonight, by the way.
Yes, sir, Doc. Yes, sir.
We're both casket sharp.
I like the little lapel pin flower thing there.
Yeah, you know,
That's
wife
hot.
picked this out for me.
That's hot.
My
Pastor Kid, how are you, sir?
we got that new life insurance at the house, so she's been picking out caskets for me lately because apparently I'm worth more dead than I am alive at this point.
We all are.
We all are at this point.
We all are.
But no, man. You were saying we were talking about
the
beautiful the unveiling of the statue. Okay, so I don't have a picture of it,
Right.
But you can look up the new MLK statue. Now, every time they do a statue of MLK, there's an issue.
Yeah.
Because the first one they said he looked too mean. He was looking like Stern.
Right.
This one is him and Coretta.
It's supposed to, the name of it is the embrace.
The embrace.
The embrace.
It looks like an embrace, all right. But a different kind of embrace.
There's definitely some embracing going on.
There's embracing involved. But I had to see what picture it was emulating.
Right.
There's a picture of them embracing, but the artist just took the arms. Mm-hmm. But, you know, there's another... society is what it is, you know, Pastor Jeff.
Yeah.
We are who we are, and we do what we do.
And we're going to think what we think.
We're going to think what we think.
Yeah, I mean,
And here we are.
And trust, you can't please everybody, but
No.
I did, when I looked at it, I had to look at the picture first to understand what he was trying to go for.
They could have just taken the picture off of the funeral home fans and just made a statue of that.
Not the funeral
They could have just took the classic MLK picture on the funeral home stands would have been sufficient. Matter of fact, you know, that would be a statue of a giant funeral home fan. A giant funeral home fan with Martin Luther King's picture on it. That's a classic statue.
I wonder if Sterling got every funeral home fan that he ever had. Just one.
Well, who
Did
was
he
on
save
them
them?
before
Martin
Luther King? Probably Abraham Lincoln. It's probably Abraham Lincoln. That's my guess. Or white Jesus. Probably white Jesus. Brad Pitt Jesus. He was probably on there.
Wow.
But yeah, but no, so I think it's beautiful. Uncle Joe preached today at Dr. King's church.
Absolutely.
You know, I want someone to take that video and put a little organ to it. I would not be satisfied until somebody, you know, because that one guy does a thing called Everyone Deserves Music, and he puts behind. So I want them to add, because he managed to not go to sleep, which is
right.
That's an accomplishment for Uncle Joe.
Definitely an accomplishment.
For Uncle Joe, that's an accomplishment.
Well, wait a minute now, because I watched him as, Kirk Franklin done the Star Spangled Banner.
Okay, yeah. This was the remix. It was the revolutionary remix.
For real.
Yeah.
I watched Joe like, what in the world did they just do?
Well, it was funny because did you ever see that Simpsons clip where they have the black guy sing the national anthem and he takes like 20 minutes to sing it?
Never saw it.
And they like go to sleep while it's being sung. They're like at a stadium. And you know who the guest soloist voice for it was? I don't know if you remember Daryl Coley.
Yeah.
The golf artist. He did a guest thing.
Oh, my
And he was just doing all these runs and extra stuff. And like by the time he was done, it was all like.
Daryl Coley say, when Sunday comes.
When Sunday
it ain't going to never make it if you don't sing how to get down with that song.
We never made it to Sunday. And everybody was late on Sunday. That's how that went. So, it's Martin Luther King. We've had the commemorations. We had the celebrations.
Absolutely.
Some people have done marches and all. We are going on the 60th anniversary.
Absolutely.
Of, first of all, Letter from a Birmingham Jail being published and the March on Washington.
Absolutely.
And I guess my question to you is it getting a little stale?
Not to me. Not to me because,
Not to you?
I mean, honestly, I am a late bloomer, especially when it comes to civil rights.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm an activist. Obviously, I'm involved heavily in the community, but I am a late bloomer. I was one of the ones who was, when I first got into ministry, very kingdom-minded and not as much civil-minded. So for me, this stuff is actually what's necessary and needed, and not just on Martin Luther King Day. Right. But every single week. I think, we ought to just incorporate this into everything. Everything. So
I became this. It's been a couple years, but I've been up in it. I think I'm not worried about myself so much as other people, and maybe if I do feel anything, it's really just a matter of frustration with the process. Right. And we're gonna tear into that. We're not gonna make this. But as I was thinking about the week and all that's going on, I'll be honest, be totally transparent. And I'm not saying here, probably wouldn't have been a good idea here. I would have I think I was in the mode to do an MLK sermon somewhere this year. It didn't happen. That's cool. Right. I'll just wait for Malcolm X Day. And I'll.
Not Malcolm X Day.
Which I think we need to start, Malcolm X. But
Brother Johnson.
But we demand to see Brother. It would be called "We Demand to See Brother Johnson."
Yes, sir.
That's what it would be called. But I do want to hit on something before we do our meme for the week, and that is, and this to me feels, because now I've tried to get off of this tip for a while, because I've tried to be nice, polite, Negro Johnson. I've tried to be nice, Brother Johnson. I've been elected to office. I'm trying to be nice. But when they say your ice got to be colder, and you got to work twice as hard.
Absolutely.
And you see other people who are able to just get over this Negro, who's not a Negro, George Santos.
Oh my God.
Who literally lied his way about everything.
Into office.
He's in office.
And said he ain't leaving us. Said he's not stepping down.
This dude didn't go to none of the schools he said he went to. He claimed to be on a gymnastics team, like a hockey team or something.
The funniest thing is they said, you said you were Jewish. He said, no, I was Jewish.
Listen. He said, I said, if that ain't a living color skin, I don't know what is.
Dude, it's nuts.
I mean, this cat is like a living troll. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. And I know he's supposed to be is he like white and Puerto Rican? I mean, he's something.
It's something, yes.
But here's all I have to say. We're starting to see that if you have, the right color, the right hue.
Absolutely.
They
don't check the background.
They don't check the background.
They ain't do it.
It was the worst.
They ain't even Wikipedia him.
Listen, they ain't check his Facebook page. You didn't look for him on Twitter. I mean, this cat, the Brazilian government is looking for him for fraud.
Yeah, for fraud. Yeah. Writing bad checks.
He claimed he lost employees in the Pulse nightclub. I mean, his lies are they're so ridiculous. And the funny thing is, Pastor Tatum, isn't that Dr. Rice's district? Where I was in New York?
Yeah.
Long Island. Because he's at the Church of the Queens, but I think it was around Long Island. I think that's his district. I was going to call him and say, what did y'all do? What have y'all done to the country?
My God.
But I've never seen anything like this. And it's scary that this can happen when we know full well if he was, even though he's technically a minority, the fact that it's, how do you get away with this? And could a black person, and I mean a blackity-black person, ever get away with that?
Speaking of that,
if you went to Rain, if you claim to go to Rain and you really went to Wilson, that would be enough to not get elected to an office.
You're gonna get beat down.
You get beat down. Starting with our man Bishop Suge now.
Bishop Suge. I want to bring some levity here, and I want to, because we got on and we continue to get on. Old number 45, whatever. But
45.
We just found out, or it just has been revealed, that Biden had some.
Biden has some docs too.
Biden has some docs too.
But listen, my grandpa also doesn't know where he left things. Okay, this is purely grandpa behavior. He was probably on the toilet reading these documents, left the office, never came back. Uncle Joe gets a pass from me.
Uncle
Joe gets a pass, even though they found it like 3 different places.
And he's telling them what some more of them is.
Right. Like there's one under the toaster in the kitchen.
It's some up next to the Captain Crunch.
Look behind my pills in the cabinet. You go find some there. Now they did turn theirs in right away.
Yeah. And I mean, it's definitely, if you look at it, and I think, his was when he was vice president. And I do believe that Trump's was egregious in what he done.
Well, it felt like Trump was more personally involved in ordering so much stuff. Yet, remember, these people have staffers that do all this for them.
Absolutely.
So I believe, this is just me, I believe President Biden trusted his staffers to do a proper cleaning, and they're supposed to know what to do. This is their job.
Right.
They're supposed to know what to do. I think that Trump took a more proactive role in saying, I want this, because the stuff you found, it was like letters to foreign, heads of state and certain strategic things. And of course, people were claiming he was going to sell this stuff to other people. So, but it doesn't matter now because, Fox News has jumped on this.
Right.
What I think it's really going to do is going to kill the investigation to Trump.
Right. And that's what because they're saying, how can we?
Yeah.
So,
it's going to kill the investigation into Trump. But I mean, was anything really going to happen anyway?
Probably not.
And if it would, it was going to be a riot.
Obviously.
I mean, come on.
Another instance.
It's Teflon Don, man. I mean, he can't. He's untouchable. You know what I'm saying? The orange peel is untouchable. So,
the orange.
The cheating Cheeto, he's untouchable. What are you gonna do? Fake Fanta. What are you gonna do?
You killing me.
Hey, we gonna move this along because we're a little late. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the meme of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
We are. These are all jokes. We are just playing.
All right. So what we get?
Yes, he did.
I saw that.
Yes, he did.
It's
Martin Luther King Day.
Hey, y'all.
We couldn't find a picture with a black Jesus.
Right.
With an afro.
This is already against the movement.
This is sacrilegious.
Dr. King did not die for this, for us to put up a white Jesus on his holiday. What's wrong with y'all?
Long hair.
What's wrong? Who is this guy?
Longer than normal.
Put it back on. We're going to talk about who this is. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
That's who this is. Who's this?
My
Who is
God.
this? This is not Jesus.
This is not just
This is
David
not Jesus.
Copperfield.
Bruh, this is that dude from Pirates of the Caribbean.
My God. This is Morbius from that new It's Morbius.
This is Nicolas Cage. Who is this? George Harrison from the Beatles looking.
Look at the mustache. Just
Right.
Never mind. I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it.
John Lennon, imagine. It's everybody but Jesus. It's everybody but Jesus.
He ain't see nothing.
You didn't see anything. You're not even the real Jesus. All right.
Jesus.
I'm gonna start rebuking fake Jesuses. Like white Jesuses, because it's time now.
It is. Let it go.
It's time. It's been holding us back. And you know what? That's the thing. That's what keeps black people divided, and those that don't rock with Jesus in the black community, they be like, man, look at them pictures y'all be putting out.
Yep.
Like, hey, y'all, I'm dead serious. That might capture like 10% of cats, at least in respect. Like, if we just eliminate white Jesus.
But what's funny is now I have a book, a real nice book, about this big with and it's almost like a devotional, but it has a black Jesus on the front cover.
Right.
In a real black, with the hair and everything. My daughter was in town this weekend. She walked in my office. She's like, what is this? Because our young people are so...
They're entranced, man.
Yeah, that,
the old people are too, though.
Some of them believe that that's That couldn't be Jesus.
Do y'all remember, was it Jet or Ebony, but there was a magazine back in the 60s that put a black Jesus, and it was a black magazine, on the cover, and they got complaints from black people.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, somebody who's old enough remembers this.
Wow.
If you're old enough, you remember this. And I, because I'm just the history, I just love reading about 60s and 70s. They put a black Jesus on like a cover, and I think they were talking about the change of face of how we were becoming more conscious, and we knew that Jesus didn't look white. And black people wrote in angry letters saying, you are violating our faith because that's not the Jesus grandma had on her wall.
Wow.
She had that one Jesus that would it was like a
picture
holograph.
might just put up.
It was like a holograph that would change the way you was looking at it. Like he'd be smiling, then on the cross,
right.
You go on the other side, he's looking like Michael Jackson in Thriller. So it's like it's like they were complaining that, and it was black. It wasn't white people. It was black people. So we got to fix it, man.
I'm still upset. I don't know if any of my family is watching. My great grandmother was a preacher, and all I asked her throughout the couple years I was around with her was she had a statue that lit up of a black Jesus. I said, that's what I want. And I still don't know who got that.
Indoor or outdoor?
It was indoor. It was indoor. She had it up on her fireplace. I want to know who got that
lit up
statue.
black Jesus. Who got Jeff's lit up black Jesus?
Who got it?
That was his inheritance.
That was, yes.
She promised.
That was supposed to be mine.
She on her deathbed. She promised this.
I traded my food and my first rights, my birthrights.
Traded my birthright for black Jesus.
Black Jesus.
We're already going off the rails. We forgot what the meme was about. Whatever it was, Jesus saw it. All you sinners out there, all you dirty sinners, we
Jesus saw it.
We know you.
Right.
We know you wasn't in Niagara Falls.
You in Niagara Falls.
We know you went out to Newton Falls. You went out to Newton Falls.
Not Newton Falls.
To that one hotel.
The Holiday Inn Express. I don't know why I know what it's called. Don't ask me why I know what it's called.
I'm in a meeting in Niagara Falls.
Room 412. All right.
Oh my God.
You want to thank our sponsors. Thank our sponsors from the Phillips Care family of businesses. We have graphics back.
Yeah, graphics
The
back.
Phillips Care family of businesses, Phillips Care Lawn Services. Listen, if you're one of those weirdos that still cuts your grass in the wintertime and you just really care about your lawn that much, Phillips Care, they're your people. But really, they do so much more than lawn care. They take care of plowing, salting, all things concerned. If your trees, they'll build your whole new house. Trees, falling limbs, brush, all that stuff. And while you're at it, matter of fact, I'll just tell you, just go ahead and lock them in, for the spring, because you're going to need it, right?
Yeah.
And while you're at it, take care of Phillips Care. What is it? What is it? Maintenance? Phillips Care. Cleaning. You know why this trips me up? Because I've never called them for cleaning. I've only ever called them because my gutters are falling off my house. That's why I'm calling. But they do cleaning, and we do need them for floor cleaning. If my wife is watching, I promise
I
I'm
guess the question is, who in Warren really get somebody to do cleaning for them?
A lot of people.
Do we got money? Do people got money to get people to?
Jeff, now you know.
I did have somebody to clean them.
Thank you. Uncle Moneybags over here got a whole maid. This cat got he got Jeffrey the butler over here working for him.
I forgot I had somebody clean.
Exactly. I'm like, you talking about yourself, Doc? I knocked on the door and the guy was like, sir, the master is not in. I will see if Master Jeff is available.
And they done a good job too. But call Phillips Care because they represent.
Well, they do the floors.
Yes.
They're doing deep cleaning, move in, move out, all that stuff. But we're grateful to have them as sponsors. If you would like to be a sponsor of Religiously Incorrect Podcast, listen, you need that rip bump. We call it the rip bump.
Yes.
Your business will go through the roof if you advertise with us. I mean, you won't be able to contain it. It's just the way it goes. We have the magic. We got the magic touch, to be honest. Our billions of viewers.
All of them.
I mean, you know what they did? The telescope just found? You know what the telescope just found, like another planet like Earth? They watch us up there, Doc.
It's the
we're the only game in town.
It's the Space Jam.
It's space.
The Monstars be watching us.
We're the only game in town up there, Doc.
And before somebody texts me or call me about me having somebody clean my house, I got 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a full bed. So when y'all had that many bedrooms, then y'all ask me,
so
my wife ain't.
Next time y'all talking about rich preachers, y'all talking about this nigga right here. He got it all. Shoot, me and my family in a one-room shack, trying to make it. All right, y'all. Our subject for today, in the words of Biggie Smalls, it was all a dream.
We used to read What Up magazine.
I don't know the rest of it. I was saved.
That's all I can get.
I was saved.
You wasn't saved.
I was saved for real. I didn't listen to the devil's music. It was all a dream.
Yes, sir.
Now, it's Martin Luther King Day weekend. And Jeff and I, at least twice a year, Martin Luther King Day weekend and then Black History Month.
Yes.
We usually go in about something. Now, we'll try not to be angry, but we also don't want to be too flippant either. I want to give a shout out to our brother, Bishop Perrymore.
Man.
Who preached tonight.
Man.
What happens?
He put in work.
When people are willing to work.
When people are willing. The subject was Nehemiah.
Yeah, 4 and 6.
Yes.
He hit it, man. I mean, he comes with the real. I have a meme of a video, but we're going to clear it with him first.
Okay.
Because you know what I thought about when I was sitting in the service and the choir was singing? I thought about Suge up there. You know, we affectionately call him Suge Knight. And CJ's cracking up. We affectionately call him Suge. And as the director was doing this thing, who we love dearly.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, I got to give a shout out to Dr. Van Nelson.
Van was.
I missed you, Van.
You wasn't there for the changing of the outfit.
He had already changed?
He had already changed when he came in.
I missed the first costume change?
He had on a houndstooth at first.
Okay, all right.
He had on a houndstooth first, then he came
Van
out.
said, I'm making the best of this.
Flipped on him.
I'm making the best of this. So Van was doing his thing, and this is what Van told himself when he walked in. He says, I'm not directing this choir. I'm just about to two-step the whole song.
That's it.
I'm about to two-step, do a couple spins, and Van was going in. He was having a good old time.
He was having a Holy Ghost time.
Matter of fact, I think he had earphones in. There was a whole nother song playing in his ear. Because he was not dancing to that choir song. He was very clearly dancing to Flashlight by Parliament. He was very clearly dancing to another song. But as he was going, the first thing I thought, I looked at Bishop Perrymore's face. I looked at Suge's face. And the first thing Suge was saying, without even saying it, was, if you want to join the label, well, you ain't got cats dancing all up in your videos, all up in the camera. Come over and join. That's what I saw. I felt it in the spirit.
Hey, and this boy in the back, Pastor McKee, was like, y'all ain't got no love for the West Side.
Y'all got no love for the West Side?
Y'all got no love for the West Side.
It was that kind of night. But it was good.
It was good.
It was all parts. It was all good things. But I have to admit that I'm glad Bishop Perrymore did not say the word dream. I walked out satisfied just on that alone. Because I was thinking to myself.
Why is that, though?
Because I'm sick of the dream.
You sick of the dream?
I'm sick of the dream. You know why? Not because the dream isn't good, but it was all a dream. Mm-hmm. That's it. An idealistic imagination of a racial utopia.
Right.
That the man readily admitted within not even a few years that had turned into a nightmare.
Well, and I think what most people and what many people miss is the fact that that was not even the premise of his speech that day. If Mahalia Jackson had not said something about the dream, he probably would not have talked about it.
And honestly, a reason for that, here's the part we don't like to talk about. Dr. King was still a preacher.
Right.
Okay? Dr. King was still a preacher, and preachers want their speeches and sermons to go well. Mm-hmm. And the underlying context of this is the speech wasn't going well.
Right.
It wasn't hitting. Every preacher knows when a sermon ain't hitting. And every preacher, especially Baptists are good for this. Well, many of us are good for this. We have a reservoir of either whole sermons or like conclusions.
Yep.
That work for us. Mm-hmm. You do know that many of these quotes and things he repeated everywhere.
Absolutely.
Speech after speech, college after college, rally after rally. He repeated them in so many different places, and even he lamented towards the end. And I always mention this book every year because I read it every year, Tavis Smiley's Death of a King. The last year of Dr. King's life, dude was straight miserable, depressed, everything you could think about, drinking. There was just a lot going on. And I don't mean not to say to denigrate his, but he was going through human man issues, trying to deal with the stress of a movement that was all over the place. It was going crazy. But the crazy thing is, it's like he never dwelled on it. He fell back because his friend Mahalia was like you would do. If you knew I had a dope clothes and I'm up there dying, you'd be like, yo, bruh. Yeah, hit that. Go on ahead to Calvary right quick and talk about Jesus dying, because that's
what's gonna work.
Go on ahead and hit that right quick.
That's gonna work.
And early Sunday, squeal, grab your leg. She said, tell him about the dream. In other words, Negro, you need to do better than this. And he went into it.
And I don't want y'all to get it confused, because it wasn't just him. Because now we have the internet. So you watch any preacher, especially these popular preachers who go around, you'll hear them repeat.
I can say some names.
Reuse.
I can say some names.
Over and over again. You'll see them on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and they're using these innocent.
And they hate the internet.
Absolutely.
Oh, they hate the internet.
It kills them.
Because they're like, I can't review. Because if they say your preacher's coming to town and you're going to look him up,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, dog, I was going to preach that. Now you looked it up, so you know where I'm going with this. But anyway, it's not that the dream was not powerful and prolific in its public declaration in its time. It's that is the thing we latched onto, and I've said it before, like we've Disneyified. Mm-hmm. Like this is the ending to a Disney movie. And if you ask white folk and a whole lot of black folk, after he made that dream and all that, we all just joined hands and shared a Coke and went skipping up the hill somewhere.
Kumbaya.
So...
Que sera, sera.
And because the dream became the prolific moment of his life, we began to constrain his legacy to that one word, that one speech. So I'm glad they didn't say dream. Because as I said today, and we're going to talk to our kids tomorrow with his youth program, this brother was talking about a minimum guaranteed income for all people, black and white.
That's right.
This person put his life on the line exactly a year before he was murdered. On April 3rd or 4th, 1967, making a speech in Riverside Church in New York about why he opposes the Vietnam War.
Absolutely.
And then he became public enemy number one because all of his white and black allies, who, by the way, you have to remember how patriotic black folk were back then. You have to remember how patriotic a lot of black people were Republicans. Right. Because it wasn't quite yet the ugly turn of what Democrats used to be.
Before he died, he had a 75% disapproval rating.
Correct.
75%. Like you said,
one of the most hated men in America.
Yes,
one of the most hated men. And he said, I've integrated my people into a burning house. Mm-hmm. Give it another year or two of life, and he would have said exactly what our black brothers say today, which he probably said. You read his position papers. We were better off with our mom and pop shops in our neighborhoods.
That's right.
He was saying that. We're not saying it. We act like we're militant for saying it. He was saying, don't be ashamed of your blackness. Your blackness is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Which totally kills the idea that people, again, take the dream and they massage it to say Dr. King wanted a colorblind society. Not when he's telling you to be proud of your blackness, that black is beautiful, that there's no more beautiful people on the earth than black. He was saying that plainly, cleanly. So to me, if it was National Dream Day,
right,
I would say, okay, let's just talk about this dream. But because it's Martin Luther King Day, I think that we have to, and I'm glad Pastor Matlock said something tonight about his method was nonviolent, and here's the part they always miss, direct action.
Direct action. I love
nonviolent, but in your face. Mm-hmm. Nonviolent, but marching on courthouses. Nonviolent, but putting yourself in harm's way on purpose. Nonviolent, but willing to be arrested. And we don't like that part. We just like Dr. King stood for peace. No, Dr. King stood for putting yourself at risk for the sake of peace.
Come on, sir. Come on.
That's what he stood for. Putting yourself in danger. Allowing a dog to bite you. Mm-hmm. For the sake of peace. Anyone who just says Dr. King stood for peace, he was almost Malcolm-y with it. Mm-hmm. By peace, by any means necessary.
That's right. That's right.
This dude sent, I'm just being clear, he sent children into the streets. They had a children's campaign. Mm-hmm. And they warned them, if you send your children out here, we will bite and hose them just like we did you. And he sent them out there anyway.
That's right.
And what I'm saying is, that's what blunts my feelings of like, you start to dread the holiday. You dread it because there's so much more richness to tackle. And we live in a world, and we've talked about this in years past, that the very people who celebrate Dr. King's mind seem to oppose now his methods when it comes to our day.
Absolutely.
They would say you shouldn't be out there. There's a better way. And he was like, no, we tried sitting down and having conversations. No, we have to make them hurt. They would say, don't hurt the economics of the city to prove a point. Dr. King was like, shut down the whole bus line. I don't care if people get laid off.
Shut it down.
That's what it did. Now, do you know there's a story where all my older Warrenites, they boycotted the AMP. You know, the AMP was right beside Joe's church. The old U-Haul spot over there. And, you know, and that little building next door, those were grocery stores. The AMP.
Wow.
And they boycotted when they wouldn't hire black people. And I forget, my father told me who one of the first black people, I think, was it Jimmy? Somebody was one of the first black people that worked over there. But they boycotted. Dr. Fowler's led a boycott or a protest against the Tribune Chronicle.
I heard about, I think you talked about that when you had the seniors.
You know, so nonviolent, direct
action.
We got to tell the whole story.
Absolutely.
And I think that for those of us, we're going to lose the generation that actually remembers being alive when he was alive.
Now that's a sad situation.
And because of that, now we really stand at risk of this becoming a cartoon caricature because we have to recapture that story.
Right.
And so that's why I feel a little blunted. I'm a little bit, and honestly, outside of one speech, we're not really tearing into. Honestly, I wish we're going to do a little bit with kids, but I think with adults, because we had a great discussion pop up when we were organizing for this youth day we're going to do tomorrow about the N-word. Younger ones in a room with older ones in their 60s and 70s talking about, oh, that's unacceptable. And we're like, nah, it's a context. It's a nuance. And they're like, well, we were raised, you don't do it. And we're telling them young black people who are we're practically the face of the movement now. We're talking about why culturally and in our generation, there's a disconnect.
Right.
So we have to have real conversations where we might start taking purposely pieces of Dr. King's speech. And that's what I'd like to see, forums that start with him, but by the way, don't end with him.
Right.
And talk about things that we would not have talked about and have not talked about. Just have a total economic conversation. Don't have nothing about no marches, inequality, or nothing. Just economics. Just that. Period. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm seeing. Perfect example, this day and age we're living in right now, where we talk about black economics being lost to the integration, to the malls. Okay? Well, that system's falling apart. That system's falling apart, right? Malls are shutting down. They're ghost towns. Nobody wants to be there. Whole outlets are falling apart. You know, it's not what it used to be.
Over,
so, no. What are white people doing? They're rebuilding small town America and putting all these little quaint storefronts in downtowns. We're doing it right here in Warren. I've been to many cities. They're doing all these little...
Youngstown is booming.
Right. They're doing all these little downtown mom and pop shops and little kitschy thing. That means we're in a perfect environment to recapture the neighborhood gas station or store or grocery mart or, you know, or whatever. We have to seize that with a conversation, though, and talk about it. And I feel like Dr. King, at this juncture, God knows what he'd be talking about at this point. God knows what he'd be talking about. And how disappointed. We all saw the Boondocks episode when they had the Martin Luther King party.
He done brought up Family Guy, Boondocks.
Remember the Boondocks episode when Dr. King comes back to life and shows up to the BET, was it the BET Awards or something? And he was like, y'all acting like a bunch of niggas. But that's exactly what he would say.
Hey, I loved when Paramore used the Negro a couple times today in the message.
Hey, by the way, that is a purposeful tool of black preachers.
My God.
To make black people laugh and white people feel uncomfortable. Say Negro in the pulpit. And if you really want to blast them, just drop the full thing. Because white people, you know how them judges and people, they show up and the people running for office, they try to show up and show they don't know when to clap, they don't know how to smile, they don't know what to do with their face, and all the black people turn around and see it.
So tell me this, because I mean, we know we got Brother Johnson here, and this is his, and he didn't get to preach today.
I didn't get to preach.
So on his thing, hold it up. Hey, me and you the only person who did that.
We're the only ones.
We were the only ones.
Me and Pastor Jeff.
At the end of the Black National
We need to set a new standard. We're going to teach it to the kids. When you get to the end of Lift Every Voice and Sing, and you get to the line, let us march on till victory is won, your fist is supposed to go up.
Supposed to go up.
Me and Jeff were the only ones in the church.
And it might have been some people behind us, but we ain't see them.
If Miss Helen was there, she was up.
She definitely done
But
it.
I'm telling you, we're the militant ones. They know it.
So here's the thing. If we're going to live beyond the dream,
Beyond the dream.
I think we also have to talk about others who done work outside of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Thank you.
We have to talk about those who helped Dr. Martin Luther King. We have to talk about W.E.B. Du Bois. We have to talk about Frederick Douglass. We have to talk about all those.
A. Philip Randolph.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about non-Christians.
Well,
How about non-Christians?
how about homosexuals that were in the movement?
Bayard Rustin,
Yes,
who organized the whole doggone march, and they pushed him to the back and said, you can't be seen because you're a homosexual.
That's
and we
right.
know it.
That's right.
He organized. There would be no march without that man.
Without him. That's
and
right.
died without anybody knowing he had organized.
That's
it.
right. That's right.
You know, about Marcus Garvey.
Come on, sir. Come on.
How about Malcolm X, who purposely made himself the bad cop?
That's right. That's right.
Just so that they would run to Martin Luther King, who was the good cop.
Mm-hmm.
Literally was like, let me scare these, I was about to say crackers. Let me scare these.
See, that's why you can't let Todd talk about this too long.
I'm sure that's what he said. I'm quoting Malcolm. This is an academic endeavor.
We getting canceled.
He said, let me scare these folk into Martin's arms.
Right.
He said, because he criticized him, but he was also strategizing towards the end of his life to say, hey, y'all, I'm watching my people down in the South get bricks and stuff thrown at them.
Yep.
And of course, I'm preaching this shoot back stuff, but he knows it's not realistic. So he's like, how about I just talk scary enough and say it's either me or him? So you're right.
That's it.
And how do we do that? Do we mix it in with Dr. King, or do you think people would feel offended that we are squeezing Dr. King out by including other people in a broader message?
Well, see, I don't think they should feel, that we're excluded. But all these people had a part to play. All these people, done something in history that needs to be talked about. And then we, as, us right now, even like today when I talked about it, we have to be able to use what we got.
Fernando said he's pulling his sponsorship.
Oh my God.
That is comedy. You can't leave us, brother. We need you.
Bad.
That's all right. I got a few dope dealers that'll fill this spot.
It's some Malcolm X's who might come in here and pay some money.
Correct. But yeah.
But I was just saying that we have to use what we have. I mean, because I think you talked about it the other day, but we've never had the backing of the banks.
Never.
We've never had,
Never.
the judicial system on our side. We've never had, we can't just go and say we want and we demand and we do this, So they give us power without policy, or policy without power.
Policy without power. You're correct. And that was talked about tonight a little bit. Perhaps when you talk about a day of service and a day of action, I'll give you an example. And I'm not knocking the local news. Mm-hmm. I'm not knocking the local news. But
Please
I saw
don't, because they love you.
They do. They love me. But there was a commercial on. It was like one of those PSA style things. And it was over the weekend encouraging people to support local food banks in honor of Dr. King, because Dr. King would want us to serve others as and that's fulfilling. They literally said, like, that's fulfilling the vision of Dr. King. And I'm kind of like, nah, not really.
Right.
That's a universal do-gooder principle. It's universal. But to say, how I get ticked off when people say, when you do one good thing, and trust me, we both do good things. Like, say we go and do the grocery stuff, or we do, and somebody will say, that's what the church is all about. Right. And I'm like, nah, it's a good thing, but it's not what church is all about. Right. It's not that one thing. Because people would love for it to be that thing. They would love if being a pastor meant nothing but running around going to grocery stores and paying for groceries. I'm like, yeah, but I still got a sermon. There's beliefs, there's doctrine. We want you to be spiritually regenerated, all that stuff. I feel the same way about Dr. King's dream. Whatever the thing you like and care about, suddenly that becomes fulfilling his vision.
Right.
That's my problem. Whatever it is you like, or let's be honest, what challenge is there to donating to a food bank? Every principle Dr. King stood for and type of service and act was purposely designed to generate opposition.
Right.
It was not supposed to be universally loved. He purposely chose challenging positions.
Right.
What's gonna get a fight going?
Absolutely.
How can I get this sheriff to come out here with this hose?
These pit bulls.
How can I get them German shepherds out here? But what I'm saying is, so again, we have to be careful because it's kind of a saccharine, kind of a sugary, do good works, day of service. Perhaps we would be better with a day of accountability, a day of questioning.
Yes.
A day of, we're going to have a forum and invite, like you said, people in power and say, let's do an assessment of what the last year has looked like. Whatever position you're in, judge, what have you done to close the gap in sentencing? Tell us what you're doing to address, the scourge of the sickness of addiction.
That's right.
That you love to talk about in the suburbs. Let's talk about how many black people you've sent to treatment instead of jail.
Absolutely.
In the black community. Like, you know what I mean? Let's talk to the banks. Show me your numbers from last year. Show me your Community Reinvestment Act numbers. Show me your intention to give viable loans, not subprime and dangerous loans to black people. Show me how you invested in the community to the dream of home ownership.
Come on, sir.
And I feel like that would be more along the lines of, because he was a hold accountable type of person. We won't quit until you give us what we want.
What we want. That's right. That's right.
So I think that could be, again, a day of service and knowledge and learning and discussion is great.
Absolutely.
But a day of seeing where actual progress has occurred would be even better.
I think also, not just talking about the progress, but talking about the real plight of where we are.
Correct.
I think that, COVID actually put an MRI on America and the fact that there is still a bunch of, racism, inequities.
Correct.
The fact that most of us were dying in it.
We were making up like a third of the deaths.
Absolutely.
And we were like 11% of the population.
We have to say that there's still some real, stuff that there's not a whole lot of interconnectedness
Correct.
going on in America right now. And so we have to call this thing out. There is white national Christianity that we have to call out. There's,
man, please.
I mean, there's
talk about it, Jeff.
We have to call these things out. And
Yeah.
if we're not, we can't just come together and say, well, these are the good things that's going on. There's still some bad things going on as well that, if we don't talk about them, if we don't really, say what's going on, then they're just not going to get better.
And that is where the Malcolms come in to give perspective to this. Because when people say, well, why don't we celebrate all the progress we've made? Malcolm would say, if you stick a knife 6 inches in my back,
come on,
and pull it out 2 inches, that's not progress.
That right.
And that's about where we're at right now. And, they're like, all right, well, we ain't lynching you, so
you ain't dead.
Can I get a round of applause?
But did you die? but did you die?
But did you die, though? Okay, I have a disappointment, and I told you about it earlier. Accountability for others, but also accountability for ourselves. I'm a little frustrated, and I told you I would be frustrated if I walked out of this service and didn't hear something. And what I told Pastor Jeff I'd be frustrated with is the legislation we talk about, Civil Rights, Voting Rights Act. Remember, Dr. King marched to literally change policies and laws.
Yes.
That's what he was not marching for let's all get along. He was marching to literally change the system. There are not protections for black people. We still have poll taxes. We still have literacy tests. We still have substandard schools for black people, and you haven't changed. We literally, in the past 2 weeks, had a voting restrictive law passed in Ohio.
Yes.
How can you have a service celebrating Dr. King and not mention what he would have mentioned if he had attended this service?
And I mentioned some of it this morning. Are you talking about the one to Governor DeWine?
DeWine, right here in Ohio.
And we're talking about the photo ID.
The photo ID
you
laws.
You have to have photo ID.
Can't use bills or anything else to prove where you live.
Right.
if you don't have one and don't get a hold of a state ID, I think it's 1 million people in the state of Ohio alone who cannot vote as of right now.
Absolutely.
Because of that.
Yep.
They have shortened the dates on when you can get in your absentee ballots. And you can't do curbside voting unless you can prove you're disabled now.
That's it. And I think Frank LaRose trying to get a bill passed where there's only one.
Hi, Frank. Remember me? I used to be your friend. Remember you invited me to your office? Those days are over.
And we're back with Dr. Malcolm X. We're back with Dr. Malcolm X.
Man, our last text message exchange was hilarious. Listen, I'm telling y'all, I might be making a huge joke out of this, but it's funny. Do you know what it's like to have a text war with the Secretary of State? It's hilarious. I can't believe I'm having an argument with this man who runs the state. But he is really texting me back. And I'm like, you're wrong. And I'm like, shouldn't you be in a governor's office somewhere?
Hiding Biden's.
Yeah, right. Shouldn't you be planting classified documents in Biden's office? But anyway, and helping George Santos. But yeah, how can you have a church service? That many people in one room. There is no other reason besides somebody dying for that many people to get in one room and not mention either if something's on the ballot, which the last time I got up and I did have a chance to say something, I said, there's something on the ballot and nobody said anything about it. Nobody said anything about the deadline for voter registration. Nobody said anything about watch out for the candidates. And to me, you got to add greater purpose besides giving a little perspective. Perspective's great.
Because the black church is where most of us got this information from.
There it is.
When they grew up. That was
our meeting place.
Right. We have to continue to spread this information because if we don't do it, that's why these votes seem to just fall by the wayside, slip right in, and then we all want to complain and we want to go out and boycott and we want to go and march. Well, we should have had. We have two things we can use: a voice and a vote.
Correct.
And if we don't use those throughout the year, then let's stop complaining after the vote has already passed.
Brother Malcolm said the ballot or the bullet.
Ooh, well,
that's what Brother Malcolm said. And I'm canceled again.
Todd want to kill people.
I didn't say that.
Kill people.
I did not say that.
Ballot or the bullet. I'm about to shoot all y'all.
Exercise my Second Amendment right.
I'm stop calling Bishop the Shug. You should. I'm the ones from Youngstown. Hey.
So we want to hear from you guys. Now that we are literally, we're about 40 years out from Martin Luther King Day. In the early 80s is when it was really celebrated and then formalized. And I think the last, speaking of threats, the last state to ratify or acknowledge was Arizona.
Right.
Hey, remember that song, By the Time I Get to Arizona?
Right.
That's how I'm feeling right now. But they were one of the last states to acknowledge it. I guess I want to hear from our audience, what can we do going forward? Because we've been at this for some decades, and every holiday and acknowledgement, and commemoration kind of evolves over time. What can we do more effectively? What can churches do, organizations do? It's evolved into this day of service. That's what it's become. Because I think what happened was black people, maybe people with the King Center, they saw that it had become a cheap day off.
Right.
And they started saying, don't make it a day off, make it a day on. That's what they started saying.
Right.
But I want to hear from some of you. And Scott had a question. I think I saw a thing from Scott about economics and Dr. King would shut down economics. And I want to talk about that. But while we're talking about that, how do you think we can more effectively seize the day? That's what I want to hear from our viewers. How can we more effectively seize the day? You got a day when a lot of folk are off of work.
Right.
You have access to people. What can we do? Put Scott's quote up. Yeah, I want to see what Scott Heater was saying. Dr. King would shut down economics with the church and community with confidence that the church and community would fill the void. Is that still practical? I know he meant to say practical. Is that still practical? And Bishop talked about that tonight, starting off with the bus boycott.
Right.
If you've ever read about the bus boycott, you're talking about a society where the bus was a very vital means of transportation. Some of these kids didn't even ride the bus like school buses. We know at the school, they rode the city buses.
Right.
They organized church vans, station wagons, carpools. People volunteered to walk, everything to avoid riding the bus.
Right.
And that's a great example of, so how would we fill the void if we had to boycott a Walmart or a Giant Eagle or a newspaper.
I remember at one time we were talking about even boycotting gas because of how high the prices had become.
I think that was like a scam or meme or something.
But I'm just saying, I mean, whatever we talk about
boycotting,
right? You know, like you said, how do we fill that void? And it's honestly, I think in a day and age, it's kind of difficult. But I think it needs to be done. I think we have to have the tenacity to say, you know what, I'll walk in order, you know, for now.
Yeah.
In order to get something done.
You'll walk.
You ain't gonna walk. You just gonna say, I ain't boycotting. Yes, you will.
The gas thing was stupid.
Well,
the gas thing was dumb, but I know what you're saying. But that's so massive, but maybe that's the point, is a part of the strategy is picking something that can be impacted by a boycott because everything can't.
Right.
Everything can't. So let's just say.
That's good.
One of our local.
And we always say in organizing, a winnable issue.
A winnable. There you are.
Because if you won't, you know, I got to go to work, you know, so.
Right. You can't boycott the internet. I mean, let's be honest. You really couldn't even boycott the NFL. There are some entities too big.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the funny thing about the NFL issue that happened with Kaepernick and the Black Lives Matter
my wife still say I'm with Cap. I'm with Cap. My wife is still.
She does.
Still
You're
with
right.
Cap.
Tiffany is still.
She still ain't watched football since
Tiffany,
happened.
Cap ain't even with Cap no more.
Right? That's what I say all the time. Cap at the game.
Cap's not even with Cap no more. Cap is at the game.
Cap was up with Terrell Vidal. Cap was with Terrell Vidal in the Bucks.
Cap had a Confederate flag hat on the other week. Man, what are you talking about? Cap is totally sold out. No, what I'm saying is, but in that issue, the white people were mad, or the nationalists, the conservative, whatever, because they felt that NFL was capitulating. Black people were mad, and it got to the point to where there were some articles written that they couldn't tell which boycott was really working.
Right.
Because both sides were like, we're going to boycott. So, but then again, and we didn't know. Right. So I do think localized, winnable, like, hey, we're going to all pull our money out of this financial institution in one local area that either it's a regional institution and you can really impact it, or you can impact that market of the national institution where they sort of lose the Northeast Ohio market. Right. Now, some people, and I think fear factors come in, well, the threats will be thrown out there. Well, if y'all all pull your money out of, I'll just say ABC Bank, don't want to say names, and they're a national bank, but they have a presence in Youngstown and Warren, well, then you will just pull out of there and you'll have less banking options. And that would probably cause some fear in some people and say, well, let's not do that. Let's work. What if police officers said, well, we just won't investigate murders no more since y'all want to protest us? I've literally heard people,
wow.
If you know, like, you know, smart alecky, well, fine then. You know, maybe we won't come so fast when you call us. If you dare to complain about how we tased that dude to death. Which just happened in California, by the way. A high school teacher who was in a car wreck, black man, was tased to death. Tased to death. Just last week.
I just saw another one where a state highway trooper bumped and run a SUV. An 11-year-old black child was thrown out of the SUV and killed.
Right. Right.
So it continues to happen.
And then I saw the story where that one lady cop was sleeping with all the other male cops, and it was white and black cops. And I think,
what does this have to do with anything?
It's part of Dr. King's dream. It's a part of
this don't got nothing to do with racism.
It does. Because 60 years ago, let's be honest, y'all. Let's be honest. 60, 70 years ago, those brothers wouldn't have got the time of day. She would have been whites only.
Oh my gosh.
Am I lying? Am I making this up?
Like the whole crowd is just silent. The whole crowd ain't nobody agreeing. Ain't nobody agreeing with what you talking about.
Listen, I know what Dr. King stood for.
And there was a hush over the crowd.
We were talking about cops and injustices.
And he went straight to, and then there was a time.
You know, didn't you say you got to tell the good news sometimes too?
The good news.
My police friends say, why you always talk about the negatives? I'm trying to talk about a positive.
Okay. So anyway, you know, I like your little things you do at the end of our show. So let's try another one. What are some of the dreams that did not come to pass?
Oh, the dreams that didn't come to pass. White people never learn how to dance. No matter how much they've been listening to our music.
Some of them can do it. Not real good though. Not real good.
Have you seen those videos where they're all dancing?
That's not true no more. And
they put
they've been listening to hip hop. Yeah.
Okay, well you go then.
Well, one of the things
I tried to mention the cops and y'all didn't want that, so y'all go on ahead.
Troop shoes did not make a comeback. Troop tennis shoes. The dream didn't happen.
The Cross Colors brand is still dead right now. But I heard you can get vintage gear on eBay. Yeah.
Bill Cosby out of jail, but he still ain't popular anymore.
Bill Cosby is done.
It's over.
Bill Cosby is done. The dream is over. They never brought back big body cars like Cadillacs and Lincolns with the rag tops and stuff. That was a part of Dr. King's dream. He loved him a good car.
A good car.
He loved a
Absolutely.
good car. You know, diamonds in the back, sunroof top, digging in the scene.
With the gangster lean.
What?
Ooh.
What else? What other dreams haven't come true?
Will Smith's remake of Fresh Prince or whatever it was called. It ain't hidden. It ain't hidden. It didn't hit. It didn't hit.
Yeah, the dreams didn't come true. You still, told Harpo to beat me.
What? What?
I got homework to do. What are the dreams? Did anybody ever answer my serious question? Because if you had answered my serious question, then maybe we wouldn't be talking like
What's
this.
the serious question?
I said, how can we better utilize Dr. King's holiday?
Oh, okay. Well, I think like you said, sorry, I'm trying to get back and focus. I'm still thinking about the cops sleeping with everybody. I can't wait to Google that.
How do you not know this story?
I don't know it. I didn't see it. Anyway, no, let's get back. What could be? I think having forums. I think having organizing methods. And I think just teaching people, to organize money, to organize power. I think that, like you said, we cannot just let this be a normal day off. I don't think it should be a normal day off. I don't think this should be a get out of school free.
My kids do.
Well,
they are highly disappointed I have something for them to do tomorrow. They are highly disappointed. They were like, Dad, what are we doing tomorrow? We're gonna play games. Like, oh, y'all can go to this Martin Luther King program. They're like, man. But that's kids for you.
But I think once they get there, they'll appreciate it, because I'm hoping
if they win a prize.
If they win a prize,
they'll appreciate it.
I'm hoping.
So I'm gonna rig the drawing.
So what else do you think could make it effective?
Again, I really think a day of accountability. I think it should be a time for and this is something we have to do because we say it all the time. Don't wait until election time to hold politicians accountable. I think what you said, it should be a forum day, but also a day to call in elected leaders by public invitation, just like an action would do, just like what other organizations, by public invitation, to say, we're having this conversation. You make a presentation to our community and let us question you about what has happened, what hasn't happened, what you've done, what you haven't done.
IVE training. Integrated voter engagement training would be phenomenal.
Mobilization and education.
Yes.
That would be. So I do think we could do that, and you can still do, inspiration, artistic expression, and all of those things. I think they're great. I just think that by themselves, they leave a lot to be desired.
Can we mime?
No, there'll be no mimes. Dr. King did not believe in mimes. It's a position. Let me stop. Let me end with this. This is a true story that was passed down to me. This is a true story. It was requested that mimes perform at the March on Washington. It was requested that mimes and flags perform at the March on Washington. And Dr. King was in the back dressing room. He said, heck you no!
Hey, God.
Dr. King was against mimes. I'm telling y'all. It was too close to blackface. You're not doing it. Go ahead, Big Mike. Save the day. Save the show.
All right, I have a question. Should all black people call off on Martin Luther King Day?
Every last one of you.
Absolutely.
And Juneteenth.
Yes.
You should call off Juneteenth and Malcolm X's birthday.
Either call off, save a vacation day, a sick day,
Use
someday.
FMLA?
FMLA. Use whatever you got to use.
Listen, these are all the days that all black people can call off. Martin Luther King Day, Juneteenth, whenever the new Jordans drop.
Your birthday.
All right, when new movies come out on Tubi.
Wait a minute. What's that guy's name?
These are when black people.
When Jordan Peele make a new movie.
When Jordan Peele makes a new movie.
Whenever the next Wakanda come out.
Wherever Medea goes or shows up at, we're calling off. We're calling off. When the black Captain America comes out.
Mm-hmm. When a new black restaurant soul food restaurant open up.
We all need to call off.
You need to call off. You need to taste the food.
When the McRib comes back.
Oh my God.
We all need to call off.
Absolutely.
We need to call. It's a holiday.
For Warm Band Day, call off.
All day.
Call off.
All day. Listen, y'all. They can't fire all of us.
I'm trying to help you. Yes.
They can't fire all of us.
We will mobilize anyway.
We will mobilize. And we
and
shall overcome. So, just take that for what it's with pay.
With pay.
Exactly.
That's right.
With the black bonus.
That's right.
Listen.
That's right. The 1st and the 15th, call off.
1st and the 15th.
You know your mama got money.
When your hair braider is available, just call off.
You gotta have your hair right.
You gotta get your hair right. Who wants to work if you're not right? You know
That's right. That's right.
When your edges ain't laying right, call off. call off.
Yes. When you had chitlins the day before.
And you got the bubble guts today.
Call off.
This is what Dr. King marched for. This was the dream. All right, man. This has been a great show.
Great show, man.
Do we have any comments worth anything? Because most of our comments have not been worth anything. But,
I don't know.
Anybody else say anything that was...
I don't know what happened to our...
Yeah, we can't see. We didn't have the whole screen view today, so we couldn't see whatever foolery was going on.
So I'm sorry. We didn't call out a lot of names.
We didn't call out a lot of names. We all know who's here.
We'll know how many...
Hey, Elder Carter. Hi, Tanya. Hey, Rashad. What's up, Scott? Janice is on here. All you bishops and apostles that don't like us, but you still watch us, how y'all doing? Good to see you.
Y'all ran home from the MLK service.
Y'all probably watching this from the service. Y'all probably still there. Van's still directing.
Man started back up. Like, Stanley, where you going? Get down here and grab this mic.
He told Bishop, I might let you preach. Maybe.
Oh, my God.
That's what happens when that's why we can't have guest preachers. You know why? Because they don't know us.
Yeah, they don't know us.
We know. Mm-hmm. Don't ever get up too fast. Because it's not over.
It's not over. It ain't. It's just not.
Van is like a preacher. He has 3 closes.
3 closes.
Yeah, on every song.
3 closes and 3 outfit changes.
3 outfit changes. And by the way, we're doing a tribute to Van on Saturday.
Yes, we are. Are you roasting?
I'm the MC.
Okay.
I'm the MC. So all of our Trumbull County, Mahoning County people, tribute to Van Nelson.
I'm on a program for something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the MC. So, I'm getting all my acceptable cuss words together. Whatever I'm allowed to say. It's going to be a good day. But hey, you all celebrate the legacy of Dr. King. I do have my last challenge. I always ask it. I'm going to put it on Facebook. What did your pastor say about Dr. King and injustice today? Well,
they got a whole sermon from me, so
yeah.
Y'all better tell them.
And if you go to one of them churches with the other people and they didn't say nothing, or they just said, Dr. King had a dream, we should all get along.
Come on over here.
Find a new church.
Come on over here.
Come on back where the church smell like chicken and perfume. We believe in the dream over here. Come over here where we still got the red carpet.
Yes, sir.
We believe in the dream over here.
Padded pews.
Come over here.
Stained glass windows.
Come over here with black Jesus and the wall behind it.
Come on, somebody.
We still believe in Dr. King's dream.
Got a whole choir stand, only 3 choir members.
Only 3 choir members.
Come on, somebody.
Only 1 good mic. We only have 1 good mic.
Come on, somebody. We got all kind of Hammond B3s with half the keys.
Half the keys don't work.
Yes, sir. Come on.
We got a chairlift that won't lift. We believe in Dr. King's dream over here.
We believe.
This is where we believe in Dr. King's dream over here.
Absolutely.
All the ladies who cook the chicken downstairs have to have a little meat under the arms in order to cook. We believe in Dr. King. This is where we believe.
We believe. We had the same bulletin from last week. We just crossed out the date.
Sick and shut in ain't changed in 3 years.
How many people dead, but they still
We got sick and shut in and the dead and buried. This is where we believe in Dr. King. I'm just trying to tell you, if you see those things, you're in a church.
You are in a church
that believes in Dr. King's dream.
Sir.
That's how you know. That's how you know. So with that, we want you to have a great night. Power to the people. Assalamu alaikum. Salaikum salam. We doing the Malcolm X show.
That's it.
Because I haven't been angry enough.
That's good.
I ain't said the word white devil one time this night, and I feel a little empty. So we're going to have to bring that back around in February. And
I say.
If you don't hit this outro, Mike.